So, welcome to Northern Powerhouses, our business success stories series of interviews, where we discuss with local business leaders their backgrounds, their successes, their challenges, and what's really driving them forwards. And this morning, I'm delighted to have with us Hannah Damary-Wilson, who's Commercial Director at Specialist Wind Services. So, firstly, Hannah, thank you for coming aboard and spending a bit of time with us. And if you'd like to introduce yourself, Specialist Wind Services, what you do, how you help people, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, no, so Chris, firstly, thank you so much for having me. It's a
Very
pleasure.
welcome.
Massive podcast fan, so delighted to be taking part in this.
Brilliant.
So yeah, as you explained, I'm the commercial director at Specialist Wind Services. So we're actually based just on the port of Grimsby. Never thought I would have a business based in Grimsby, but let me tell you, Grimsby is to offshore wind what the City of London is to finance. So
Wow.
yeah, oh yeah, it's a hive of activity, and it's such an honor to be able to be based here. So I
Brilliant.
get to sit at my desk and watch the CTVs come in and out. We see all sorts, and it, like I say, it really is a hive of activity. And it's incredible to see how the industry has really shaped and breathed life into an otherwise sort of area that had been
Yes.
left for if we're going to speak frankly, it had been sort of abandoned since its fishing days.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah.
Just so for anyone that looks at your website, they can see some amazing things that you do. So primarily, what are the key sort of clients that you typically work with, Hannah?
So, Specialist Wind Services, we are a project support independent service provider. So, we work with on and offshore developers. So, building wind farms. So, everything from installations, maintenance, that's a huge focus. Obviously, those
Yes.
blades, there's a lot of maintenance that goes into
Yeah.
keeping these turbines going. And then we're also looking to bring to market a decommissioning proposition. So we're just finalising a strategic partnership because we are now at the life cycle where some of these wind
Right.
farms need to come down, and that wasn't much of a consideration when they went up. So there's a lot of work to do. It's sometimes a bit overwhelming when you think about decommissioning, but it's very exciting. And just seeing how the industry is just going from strength to strength. I know that we hear a lot in the news, sort of doom and gloom surrounding wind, but I'd like to take this opportunity to say that that is not the case at all. It is an
Brilliant.
amazing industry to be part of.
Yep.
Um, People get to travel the world, they get to be part of, clean energy, and just the opportunities and the innovations that are coming to market every single year are just incredible. What they're doing with floating offshore wind now,
Yep.
just, oh, it blows my mind. Blows my mind.
Incredible. I mean, it's certainly an amazing technology, and yeah, something's obviously great for the planet. I'm keen to know a little bit more about your background, Hannah. How you got into business and why this particular one for you.
Yeah, so my journey hasn't been a straight line. So my husband and I owned a rail business, so a self-funded rail business. So we were a subcontractor on the rail industry. We focused on vegetation management. So
Yeah.
we worked on a lot of live networks. So in terms of wind now, there's a lot of crossover in terms of compliance, health and safety. The rail industry is obviously far more established.
Yep.
Um, my husband decided that he wanted to move away from the rail sector. Um, we just felt it'd become a bit stagnant, and
Yep.
we were always keen to innovate and look at new things. So he came to me and said, I want to go into wind. I'm going to retrain. And I panicked because I was like, oh my goodness, we've just bought a big house, we've got a big mortgage. This is not the time to be making such a life change. Anyway, fast forward, and we find ourselves where we are now. We've secured investment from a great backer. And yeah, we're just, for want of a good pun, we're making waves in the industry.
Brilliant.
So that it's a really exciting sector to be involved with. And most recently, I was just being shortlisted as a finalist for Future Leader for Renewable UK for their Global Offshore Wind Awards, which is a massive honour.
Well done.
Um, yeah, so it's real recognition, not just of my work, but of the business and
Yep.
what we're looking to do in the sector.
That's what a great leader would say. So that's well, it's not just about me; it's about the business. So yeah, fabulous. So I mean, get looking back, because when you were growing up, is this the life you foresaw for yourself, or did you have other things planned at that point?
Oh gosh, no, not at all. I mean, I don't think the wind industry was much of a career option back then.
I
Um, no, if I'm going to be honest with you, Chris, my real heart's desire was to be an editor of a newspaper.
Oh wow,
Yeah, so that was actually inspired by my dad. He worked in the industry for many years.
yes,
Yeah, so he was head of marketing and circulation for some of the biggest newspapers in the country. And I always really admired the way that he used communication and strategy, to influence people. Um, so I think that's probably what still drives me now.
yeah,
I mean, obviously, I'm not shaping headlines, but we are shaping stories in terms of growth,
yeah.
resilience, possibility. And yeah, for me, communication is king. And, whether that's newspapers, media, or renewables, communication is what connects people,
Yeah.
really sort of sets a vision.
So important in all forms of business and life, isn't it? The effective communication,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
a mark of a good leader again is communicating things really well. Um, so looking at having obviously founding the business and growing it as successfully as you are, what are some of the biggest looking back? What are some of the biggest issues and challenges you've had to overcome?
Um, I would say for me, probably balance.
Yeah,
Um, and that, this is sort of a personal challenge, but I'm a mum of four, um, two of which are 3 and 2. So, there are
oh
days when
goodness,
there are days when the juggle feels impossible.
amazing.
Yeah, I'm really fortunate that we have an amazing nursery and amazing parents that help. But, it's those moments that have really shaped me and
Yeah,
our family. And it's taught me, to really be intentional with my time,
yeah,
um, to make sure that I ask for help when I need it. And I guess to really remember that leadership starts at home as much as it does at work. Um, and then I think another big one is learning how to deal with setbacks. So
yes,
um, I think earlier on in my career, I took losses personally.
yeah,
And I've experienced all sorts of scenarios that come when you run a business. And I think, now as I approach my 40s, I've learned that actually loss is often a redirection.
yeah,
So what often at the time feel like the hardest moments, like business pressures, tough negotiations, throw in personal struggles with that, they actually become the moments that shape change,
yeah,
and I really think shape the leader in you.
yeah.
Um, and it gives just another element of empathy as well, I think. So yeah, I think setbacks and balance have been the two biggest issues that I've
Yes.
now I've overcome, but I now almost sort of welcome as a reflection point.
Yeah, it's funny to say that. I remember our founder saying to me many years ago. It's always stuck with me. He said, Chris, I believe I'm as successful as I am because I've made more mistakes than anybody else. Not despite it. It was
Mm.
making the mistakes was part of it. And I think it was that willingness to do things that could go wrong, because that's then on the edge of successful growth. And what I found to see found Hannah is I think problems are caused by growth. So if we don't have some problems,
Yes, yeah,
then we're probably not growing fast enough. Because I remember the CEO is not the founder of the business, but the CEO saying, the job of a business owner is to solve problems. So
yeah,
if you don't like problems, probably business ownership and leadership isn't the right thing. If
yeah.
that makes sense. And I think that's the point: is that growth causes problems. So it's almost like embracing. If we've got a problem, it's because we're at least probably pushing things further. Pushing things on. If that makes
No,
sense.
absolutely. And I think so many of us think that staying comfortable is actually the epitome of life, but that's a total lie because, when we're comfortable, we're complacent. So, I think that a degree of discomfort and pushing yourself out of your comfort zone is just it's paramount to growth and to innovation and just to a fresh perspective.
Yep. I couldn't agree more. I always chuckle a little bit because I often meet people in business that are stuck in what they call their comfort zone, but it's
Mm,
actually in many cases a discomfort zone. They're actually not very happy where they are, but they don't have the capacity or the drive to change, which is really a horrible place to be. I always feel. Um, and so, whether it's from your challenges or successes, what would you say are the biggest learnings you've had about growing a business, Hannah?
Um, so again, coming back to leadership, I think it's just being comfortable and confident enough to realize that leadership is human.
Yeah,
So you can have the best strategy in the world, but if the people that you work with don't feel seen, safe, or supported, that all falls apart. Um, I I believe that collaboration and communication are the glue that hold everything together.
yeah,
Um, and I've learned in life that success is not about doing something perfectly, but it's about showing up honestly and, even when things are a mess, being able to honestly appraise the situation and, and take from it the positives. It's like you said before, having being brave enough to take the risk to make a mistake.
yeah,
A mistake is only a problem if you don't learn from it.
yes,
If you can actually reflect back on it and say, do you know what? That's not how I intended that to go. However, the learning outcome is X, Y, and Z.
yep,
And moving forward, I'm always gonna remember that. That becomes a strength. So when you can remember these things, that weaknesses can become strengths. I just think you take back that authority and that opportunity, but
yep,
you have to ground yourself in the fact that leadership is human and nothing will ever go fully to
yes,
plan. And actually, just accepting that and embracing it
yeah.
often the best strategy to have.
No, that makes perfect sense. I remember hearing a lady called Jennifer Byrne, who was the ex CTO at Microsoft several years ago. I think she worked with Bill Gates for a little while, really, and one of the things she said that I found fascinating, and she said the word team, team is actually a construct. It's actually a whole bunch of human interactions, and it's
Mm,
understanding that everyone is different, and yeah, we could call ourselves a team, and rightly so. But there's lots of individual things going on there, and I think it's a lesson in leadership to understand that, and so everybody needs to be treated and led in potentially slightly different ways.
absolutely, absolutely.
Um, I think you're aware we're a business coaching organisation. I'm keen to know who the best coaches you've worked with, whether that's business, sport, life in general. Who's had the biggest impact on you?
Oh gosh, I'm gonna be super cheesy and say I'm gonna credit my dad.
Yeah, that's not cheesy
Um,
at all.
Yeah, so my dad's had a really impressive career and he does inspire me an awful lot.
Brilliant.
He bothers me slightly in that he should have taken more risks because he's a brilliant, brilliant mind. So to a degree, I would like, he inspires me and drives me, but then I add the risk onto that. I don't mind pushing myself out of the comfort
Yep.
zone. His strategy, but he likes a big company. But no, yeah, I'd say he's probably been my best
Brilliant.
mentor and coach, and I'm very grateful for that.
Wonderful. I did feel when you talked about him earlier that you might say that, and it's not cheesy at all. I think you mentioned you mentioned parenting earlier. I think that's a whole part of that, isn't it? Is helping our kids develop, and a lot of those facets and those techniques are very relevant to people in general. Um,
Yeah, and I would really aspire. I mean, this is my hope that I inspire my children in the same way. I would love for that. That would be
Wonderful,
incredible if that
wonderful.
transpired.
Sounds absolutely brilliant. I'd love to collect quotes and sayings about business or success in general. Do you have any favourite quotes or sayings that you catch yourself using on a regular basis?
Yeah, I mean, so obviously an absolute old timer that everybody knows, and we've already covered in this is that communication is king. Because without it, frankly, strategy fails, everything fails if communication breaks down.
Yep,
Um, and then another one that I love is you can have it all, but not all at once. And I think we are living in a society where we see, instant gratification online,
yep,
and that has become, especially for the next generation, that's become just an expectation. It's a norm, but actually it's a total lie. And if
yeah,
we believe that lie and we allow our children to believe that lie, this is where we see the issue with mental health and suicide rates, because we are just setting people up for something that
Yeah,
is completely unachievable and unattainable.
yeah,
So, you can have it all. Yes, absolutely. If you've got the drive and the tenacity and the willpower, and also the opportunities arise,
yeah.
you can have it all, but you can't have it all at once, and that's okay. Um, and I've experienced that as a working mum and
Yeah.
as a leader, that there are seasons where my family needs me more, and then there's seasons where work needs more from me. And, both of those are totally okay. And so I guess it comes back to my point on balance. It's knowing that, just be comfortable with it. As long as you've got
Yes.
an end goal, it's all about just walking through the different seasons of life in
Yeah,
life.
brilliant. I think it's that. Yeah, as you say, as long as you've got that sort of end goal, that North Star, that's where we're headed. It's. I love the analogy of a ship being blown off course.
Mm,
The wind and the tides will blow us off course, but as long as we know where we're headed, we can readjust our course, we can make changes and get back on track to where we really want to head to. Um,
absolutely.
but the idea that the wind isn't going to blow or the tides aren't going to move us is as foolish as anything else. So that makes perfect sense. And um, again, from a learning perspective, do you have any favorite books or podcasts that you can recommend?
So not work related.
It's okay.
So, oh gosh, I'm really opening myself up here. There's an amazing podcast that I discovered during COVID, and it's called Blurry Creatures, and it discusses all of the blurry aspects of life, usually through quite a biblical paradigm, and that's just opened up just so many ways of thinking to me. Um, yeah, no, I consume a lot of podcasts. I do a lot of driving as a mum. So I
Yep.
listen to a lot of podcasts. My book collection is huge. Um, but I have to say I'm saving that really for retirement because I can't read and drive.
Yes. Very true.
So yeah, I'm just saving that all up for retirement. I think that's when I'll have to tackle the books.
Brilliant, brilliant. Well, but as you say, audio, but podcasts and audiobooks are great, aren't they? So they use our time effectively. It's one of the great inventions, I think, to allow us to use our time
Absolutely.
more effectively. And
Yes, at the moment, instead of reading books, I'm writing books. That's a bit of a passion project of mine.
oh
So
wow,
hopefully author pending.
wowzers! And what sort of books are you writing?
Oh gosh, I've written some children's stories.
Oh,
And then at the moment I'm writing a book called Diary of a Disciple. So I have a faith, and yeah, it's all about really sort of being intentional with your actions in life. So we'll
yep.
see if that will ever come to fruition. At the
Oh, I
moment,
hope
I'm
so.
really enjoying the journey of getting it all out of my head.
Yeah, no, I really hope it does. But I think that whole process is really valuable in itself, isn't it? Of documenting our thoughts and feelings, etc., and beliefs.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
so, speaking of learning in general, what would you say you've learned about yourself throughout your journey so far, Hannah?
Well, I can absolutely tell you that I'm stronger than I thought I was.
Brilliant.
Um, I am also learning, and this is one that's it's an ongoing lesson, that I don't need to do everything on my own.
Yes.
Um, as I get older, I really do thrive more on collaboration. I- For me, just that realization that actually I don't need to be good at everything, but what I do need to be good at is recognizing other people's talents
Yes.
and listening. And so I have quite a strategic mind. So I like to discover other people's talents, and then my mind just goes crazy and I start connecting dots. But it's brilliant because when you can collaborate like that, you just get the best out of other people, and it just opens up perspectives, it opens up opportunities, opens up conversations. So I love working with brilliant minds, hearing different perspectives. For me, it's such a gift. And it just always opens up opportunities wider than I could have imagined on my own.
Brilliant. I think it was Brian Tracy talks about the most successful organizations and teams are the ones where most people spend most of their time doing the three things they really love and they're really good at.
Mm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think it's a
Yeah,
job.
no, absolutely.
I think it's a job of a leader to analyze that and help people find that way, because then everyone is certainly happier, and if they're happier, they're probably going to do more, be more effective, and therefore the business is often more successful and profitable.
Absolutely. And as we spoke about before we started recording, I think COVID was a real perspective shift
Yeah.
for people and for businesses alike. And actually, how do you get the most out of your team? How do you get them to work more efficiently, not just from a P&L point of view, but also from fulfillment point of view for them.
Yes.
And so it's taking that time to understand and actually really tap into their strengths,
Yes.
understand where they'd like to improve, and then just supporting them on their journey. Because when they feel heard, supported, and invested in, you are going to reap such a bigger harvest, and as will they. So it's a
Yes.
win-win.
Brilliant. Love that. And in my organisation, Action Coach, we have a definition of business, which which should be a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without its owners, which
Yes.
can be a challenge. But what are your thoughts on that?
So, and I think this is where we got to with our rail business. It took us out of it, and honestly, it was painful.
Yes.
And so, we experienced quite a lot of heartache with that, because you need that rest. You must have some time away and some downtime. Like, it makes you a better leader, it makes you more efficient. But when you are leading a business where you are needed everywhere, just the burnout comes.
Yeah.
Um, and at the time, it felt like terrible. It put our marriage at risk, it put our mental health at risk, it risked everything. But actually, now that I've got some perspective on that sort of period in life that was, quite a valley. I think when you're in the valley, it feels so consuming,
Yeah.
and yeah, as you come out and you get to that mountaintop view, you just get the bigger perspective. And so learning that quite early was brilliant. So with wind, everything that we're doing is very different. There's so many foundations that we learned that we are carrying forward with us, but being able to say, actually, do you know what, we must get this right from the ground up, because
Yeah.
we do need to be able to have that week's holiday with the kids and not be disturbed. I
Yes.
mean, I remember being in Thailand and just a massive project falling apart, and sat by a pool in a five-star resort crying, wanting to go home, because everything that supported the holidays and the family and the kids and everything else was just, you took you out of it, and it crumbled. So yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying, and that's forefront in what we're doing now. And it's being brave enough to know where to draw the line,
Yeah.
being brave enough, to delegate more.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that reflection and that experience,
Yeah.
and the collaboration has really helped me with that, at least.
It's interesting. I often say to people, business owners that I meet, that the challenge of owning a business is ultimately the buck stops with us,
Mm.
and until hopefully we have somebody else for whom it will stop with. That's part of creating a business works without us. But the great thing about running a business is we get to choose exactly how it is. We get to
Yeah.
choose how we operate, how, when, where, what times of day, and I think that flexibility and freedom is something that's really valuable,
Mm.
because it doesn't, we don't have to go faster than anybody else, or we can do it our way, to suit our beliefs, our values.
No, absolutely. And like you say, it's such a blessing. And especially for someone like me, I am a workaholic. But there are times when I have to attend the assembly, or I have to take the kids to the dentist. And so, it never eats into things. It just means that my day shapes differently.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's a blessing to be able to work around that. And I could never imagine anything else. Um, dare I say it, I'd probably be a pretty terrible employee.
Most entrepreneurial people are very unemployable, without a shadow of a doubt. It's
Oh, no.
yeah, it wouldn't work. And so looking forward then, Hannah, it sounds like very exciting times. What does the future look like for you guys, and what challenges do you think you might face, if any?
I mean, so the future of offshore wind, if I focus on that, is incredibly exciting.
Yes,
Um, and then, as I touched on earlier, just being shortlisted as a finalist in that arena
yes,
is amazing. And so to sort of pause and reflect on that, it just, I'm honoured to be to have even been mentioned in the company that I am being. It's amazing. And so it's not about the the award, it's just about, what that represents.
yes,
Um, and I think that, in the wind sector specifically, that means like new kinds of leaders that are collaborative and inclusive and will put people first. And I think with the industry being, you know, really still in its infancy, I mean,
yeah,
probably only sort of 25, 30 years established. So it's so exciting. So there's so much opportunity for the industry to really lead other industries, in such a dynamic way. I mean, don't get me wrong, like the challenges are real, the supply chain pressures, the workforce shortages, global competition.
yeah,
Um, but they're issues that aren't solved on a spreadsheet alone.
yeah,
Uh, and it's going to take leaders that can unite people, that can build trust, and that can communicate very clearly through uncertainty. And obviously, it's an aspiration of mine to be able to step into those kind of leadership roles and not just deliver projects, but also shape the whole direction for the industry itself.
yeah,
And that's really what's sort of driving us behind the decommissioning piece that we're looking to bring to market.
yeah,
It's being able to work with the leaders in the industry and say, do you know what, we might be a small business, but this is how we innovate. This is how we think. We don't want to do what everybody else does. We want to do things our way. So yeah, that's amazing. So I think the future for me, yeah, it's exciting, but also in everything that I do, I just really want to inspire my children. I want to inspire the next generation, and I want to show them, as I've sort of explained throughout, that you can have everything, can't all be at the same time.
um,
Communication and collaboration is key. And just to like you said, have your focus and work towards it. The course may change massively, the end goal may change,
yes.
but don't ever feel like you're stuck in something.
No.
Always strive for more because it is achievable and attainable.
Love it. Absolutely brilliant. It's funny you say you obviously said that a couple of times. I do love that quote. You can have everything but not all at the same time. And it's funny. I remember our founder Brad was presenting on building a business that is a commercial profitable enterprise works without you, and talks about very much there's nothing that can't be achieved in 3 to 5 or worst case 5 to 7 years, whatever. And as you said, with the sort of modern the challenges of the modern world, he'd occasionally have people coming up and saying, "Yeah, yeah, I get this 7 year thing, but how do I get rich quick?" And and his response was, "How quick is 7 years compared to never?"
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that you sum that up really well. Is that yeah, the chasing this sort of instant success dream is can lead to failure, quite often in many different ways, and not including mentally and sort of emotionally.
Mm.
So I think you're bang on. And I'm really keen to know what you'd say to anybody that was thinking of going into business right now, Hannah.
So I would say back yourself, absolutely back yourself. Don't wait until you feel ready because you'll never feel 100% ready. I think, we do this so often in life with marriage, with kids, with business. Oh, when I feel ready, it's not going to happen. And, that links back to what we were talking about the comfort zone.
Yes,
Take risks, learn as you go along, never apologize for who you are. Um, Another phrase of mine is, I don't want to be everybody's cup of tea. I would rather be a few people's shot of espresso. And so I just think have your goal, be a good person. You know, do not try and achieve what you need to, or what you want to achieve, sorry, by treading on other people, because if
yeah,
you build your foundation like that, it will collapse.
yes,
Let's, be smart about it. Make sure you are building your foundations right, put the work in. And throughout all of that, through your journey, remember the people that matter to you the most. Your family, your children, your mentors, your colleagues. Again, I mean, I'm absolutely reeling them out right now, but another phrase that I rely on and lean on a lot in life is the grass is only green where you water it. And that works in every aspect of life, whether it's your marriage, whether it's your friendships or it's your work. If you don't put the work in, yeah, the grass isn't going to be green. So make sure that you're watering these important places in your life, because it's all great having the career, but if your marriage collapses as a result of that, and vice versa, it's all about balance, backing yourself, and just being pragmatic in your approach. Don't look to cut corners because it will catch you out.
Yeah.
And always remember that the ladder that you climb can be very slippery. And who will you see on the way down? And actually, those moments, I think the peaks and troughs of life, the valleys and the mountaintops, they're the character shapers. So just be ready for when it happens, because it will. And as we covered before, it doesn't have to be the end of the world. What it can be is an amazing rebuild.
Yeah.
But just be mindful of who you might see on the way down, because
Yeah.
chances are they might offer you a hand back up.
Yeah. Very sound advice. And if you started your business again, is there anything significant that you might do differently, do you think?
So I mean, I feel like I've got that opportunity now with specialist wind services.
Yeah.
And so, we really are putting this into action, and it's investing more in people, getting the culture right from the very start, because, contracts and delivery, they'll take you so far, but it's the people, the conversations, and the trust that you build in them that you really sustain a business from.
Yes.
So, and that's my ethos now moving forward.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Very sound advice. And finally, what would be the best advice you could give an 18-year-old you if you could go back in time and do that, Hannah?
Crikey. Just to be kind to myself, I think. I've tended to put a lot of pressure on myself and maybe make comparisons. And again, we're living in just a day and age where culture tells us that we have to be one way, and society says that success looks like this car, this holiday, this handbag. And actually, the reality of life is not insta perfect. But would you want that sort of clinical side of life? No, you wouldn't, because it's all the mess that shapes things. So yeah, I just say to be kinder to myself and just to trust in myself implicitly. I've learned to trust and reflect. I think the thing that I need to tell myself now going into my 40s is that, resting isn't cheating, because I never sit still. I never stay still.
Yes.
And it kills my family. They're like, will you just sit down? And I can't turn off. But rest is important, because without
Yes.
rest, you get burnout. So yeah, that's what I need to tell my 40-year-old self.
Yeah, and I think I think it's bang on. It's a bit of learning I've had is that sometimes, however driven we are, sometimes we do need to take a break, and that's exactly the right thing. And
Yeah.
it's almost to be listen to our minds and our bodies and just say, look, the right thing right now is to do something however challenging it might be to not do something that's urgent and important. We have to look after ourselves as well as those around us, and treat ourselves as we would treat other people. I think is sometimes very very sensible. Hannah, it's been fascinating talking to you, and it'd be great to swing by another 6 to 12 months and just see the next stages. But for anyone that's watching that would like to get in touch with you or Specialist Wind Services, what would be the best way of doing that?
Yeah, so we would love, yeah, if people are interested in reaching out. Our website is www.specialistwindservices.com. You can contact us on there. Also, please do follow our LinkedIn, Specialist Wind Services. There's a lot of regular dialogue on there. Feel free to follow me on LinkedIn, Hannah Damary-Wilson. It'd be great to grow my network. And yeah, feel free to reach out. I'm always happy. I always love to have a good conversation.
Brilliant. Well, I've really enjoyed this one, and as I say, for now, thank you so much.
No, thank you, Chris. Honestly, I've loved it. You've made my dreams come true this Friday morning.
Brilliant. Well, thank you.